Thanks for the introduction, Schaefer. So just to quickly restate, my name is Michael Aravopoulos, and I'm a solution consultant at PagerDuty. And we're all as a team here very excited to talk to you about the integration between PagerDuty and Sentry. PagerDuty is a SaaS platform that's designed to alert clients about disruptions and outages in an organization and to expedite their remediation with automation, with machine learning, with visibility, and insights to analytical information in the form of reports. And I'll quickly let Phillip introduce Sentry.
Thanks, Michael. This is Phillip. I'm a product manager here at Sentry. If you haven't heard of Sentry, we are a cloud-based error monitoring platform that helps software teams discover, triage, and prioritize errors in real time. Instead of waiting for a user to write into support with a problem, we proactively alert engineering teams when an error occurs in real time and provide them with all the context about the error so they can triage and resolve it accordingly. And with that, I'll hand it back to Michael, and he can go over how to set up the integration.
Thank you, Phillip. Yes, so with the integration between these two platforms, you'll be able to see how responders can effectively be provided with that full view of information. They'll be alerted according to the escalation policies that you configure inside of PagerDuty. They'll be prioritized based on urgency and alert severity. And we'll be able to engage with the right people at the right time with all of the necessary information to help those individual responders bring that issue to a close as quickly as possible. Now, in this demonstration, we're going to take you through an example of a couple of problems that befall upon an online web application that we have, and how these issues can be effectively handled with the PagerDuty Sentry integration. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that we want to show you is just how quick and easy it is to set up the integration between Sentry and PagerDuty. In the Sentry integration settings, you add your integration by choosing PagerDuty from the list that becomes available. And it brings you to the Connect Sentry and PagerDuty form. You'll need to ensure that you have a PagerDuty account set up so that you can enter your PagerDuty credentials and then log in. Now, if those credentials are associated with more than one PagerDuty account domain, you can then simply select the account that you want to associate to Sentry, and you're done. The integration is that simple. When that is complete, you can then set up your Sentry alert rules in association with the PagerDuty services that are available in the account. And when you have all that set up, you're ready to go. The example web app that we're going to be referring to is called the Phone Booth Boutique. And that showcases and gives customers the opportunity to purchase a select type of high-end mobile phone, and at a very fancy discounted price point too. Now, our user has gotten word of this web app, and he's very excited about the prospect of purchasing a high-end mobile phone from here. Now, upon entering the website, they see the list of phones that are available to them. And for example, they come over here and they click on the phone details. And this will provide more information about the devices that are available. Now, you can see here our user, in performing this action, one of the things that has befallen upon this action is the lack of detailed and proper rendering of information in the section that needs to be rendered at the bottom of the page. Now, while this doesn't prevent our valued customer from being able to select the quantity of phones that they might want to purchase, it does, however, lessen their experience when it comes to the information not provided about the phones in order to make a purchase based on a particular phone specifications. They might need to jump to another website, as crazy as it sounds, in order to be able to see that type of detail. And so not exactly the best way to do this sort of comparison. The good news here is that this sort of problem, as minor as it might be, can effectively be tracked with PagerDuty and Sentry. And because we've done our integration, PagerDuty will begin by creating an incident and notifying us of the fact that there is this minor problem. Now let's get back to our customer who's very interested in buying a phone. There's information that guides him in terms of the actions that he needs to take. So they will enter the quantity. And then they come up and click buy in the upper right-hand corner. And this action here takes them into the section where they can begin filling in their address and credit card information in order to proceed to check out and make their purchase. So they enter their information and they click proceed to checkout. However, when they attempt this proceed to checkout, they encounter the debilitating issue of an internal server error. Obviously, a result like this is far more problematic than the previous minor issue, as it prevents our customer from completing the phone purchase. And for the phone booth boutique, not only a loss of potential revenue, but perhaps a detrimental impact to their brand. Loss of revenue and impacted brand recognition the longer a situation like this remains active. So we need to act. We have a couple of issues at hand, and PagerDuty immediately begins sending out notifications to on-call responders. As a responder, I can receive notification by email, by text, a phone call, or a push notification to the PagerDuty mobile app. And this is what you see in the forefront of the screen right now. The mobile app's versatility allows me to take action from anywhere with its full feature set. From within it, I can see the details about the two incidents. And as a notified responder, I can acknowledge the incidents and see the full context of the details for each one. Here you can see we are looking at that first situation where we had the issue with the basic formatting not coming up the way that we had expected. And all of that information is provided in full contextual view within the mobile application. I can acknowledge this incident, and I can further understand what's befallen upon it by looking at the information that has been provided by PagerDuty. If I need to get additional resources to help me out with this particular situation, I can actually elicit that action directly from within the mobile app. Here you can see we could add a responder, and we can choose from one of our escalation policies that could help us with this issue. The escalation policy is associated to schedules, and the individuals within the schedules are the people who are currently on call, and they will be notified specifically as a result of this action that I just performed. All of the information that is associated with every step that I've taken is preserved within the PagerDuty timeline. So we have an audit trail that gives us an understanding of all of the actions that we took. In this case here, we've incited the help of our L2 engineer named Bobby to help us out with this particular problem. And Bobby has now been notified automatically by PagerDuty. This way, our assigned responder, which happens to be Michael in this case, will get the additional people needed to work through the problem. Now for our other more critical incident, which we'll look at through the PagerDuty web UI. Again, we get an understanding of its priority and its urgency. Our responder, Michael, has been assigned to this incident and has received that notification from PagerDuty. He can then view the information about the incident and decide how to proceed. He'll acknowledge the incident, and then he can further investigate into the full contextual details that PagerDuty provides. Upon selecting the details of the incident, Michael can see, for example, more information. The priority of it, it's a priority 1 incident of high urgency. It's affecting the phone booth boutique application. And there's information about the details of this incident provided below. Now, again, upon review of the incident that has befallen our application, Michael can undertake an appropriate action, perhaps one that is defined within our company's incident response policy for SEV1 high priority incident. And as this is a SEV1 priority, critical severity, and high urgency incident, and in PagerDuty, I can take an action to immediately and automatically mobilize our response team given the situation. And we do this by running a response play. And this will automatically engage and notify the necessary responders, provide them with communications to correspond to, as well as notify additional stakeholders to bring them awareness for those who need to be aware of the current situation and to be kept up to date as things progress. The action right here is under the Run a Play tab. And we have a particular response play specifically for the phone booth boutique if there's a service disruption. Executing this response play will effectively perform several things, as we just noted. For example, on the right-hand side, we could actually see here the individual members from different teams that have been mobilized. From infrastructure, our level 2 engineering for the phone booth boutique, as well as network people as well. All these individuals have been notified by PagerDuty, and they have an appropriate amount of time to respond to the fact that their assistance is required. If they are unable to respond accordingly, because they are part of a policy, it will automatically escalate. And this is one surefire way that PagerDuty ensures that nothing falls through any cracks. When our additional responders do accept the responsibility of helping out with this particular problem, they have additionally a conference bridge and also a meeting URL that the response play's execution has provided. So our team now is set. They actually have a way to correspond, and if they want to provide any additional inputs to help further give understanding of what's being done to resolve the problem, they could do so in the notes section here in PagerDuty. So our technical team is now set. We also mentioned about the fact that we have stakeholders that can be notified as a result of running a response play. And that information is listed here in the status updates section. When we look at our stakeholders, our executive team, here you can see the list of individuals that have been automatically notified by PagerDuty, which has accordingly provided them with the default understanding of a status update, telling them that there is a problem with the phone booth boutique and that a response team has been mobilized and is currently working on the issue at hand. Our technical team, regardless of who they are, whether it's from network, level 2 engineering, or the original assignee to the incident, can provide them with those broad strokes updates to give them an understanding of progress being made. So for example, we might say 15 to 20 minutes updates will occur. And by sending out this, sending this update, we will see, for example, it being noted in the status updates section, but in accordance to these stakeholders, the individuals from our executive team will also be notified across email, text notification, as well as a push notification to the PagerDuty mobile app. Now our response team is engaged. We have the right people working on the most important problem at the moment. As our teams work through this issue, ultimately, they need to get the next level of information about the problem in order to see it through to remediation. And the integration with Sentry provides exactly that. As I scroll down to the bottom of the details of the incident that has been listed here in PagerDuty, there is an issues details link within the incident, and it allows us to cross-launch into Sentry directly from PagerDuty in order to further analyze and determine the root cause of this issue. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Phillip to take you through the next part of the demonstration.
Thank you, Michael. I'm going to go ahead and click on the issue details link right here, which will bring us into the specific Sentry issue page for that error. Once I'm on that page, I can see over here on the right-hand side when this issue was first seen, as well as I can also see the frequency in which the error has been occurring. So we can see it's mostly happening in the last few days, so it's probably a recent issue that was introduced. Here, a next step that I might take is I might actually look at the suspect commits. Now, in this particular example, it's just an example project, and we don't have any source control set up, so we don't see commits. But traditionally, you'd see a list of commits here that identify which particular commit this error was introduced in, as well as the authors of those commits. So one workflow that we see a lot of users doing is going here as someone who's responsible for triaging and seeing, okay, well, it's this person, or it could be one of these people who could help us resolve this issue. So you might assign it to them here. Once you've done that, you can actually scroll down here if you're trying to identify exactly what happened and how to solve the issue. We can see the stack trace here, as well as some more properties. So it looks like in this particular case, we're trying to write to a file that we don't have permissions to. So that's the problem. If you want more context around when the problem occurred, you can scroll to the bottom here and view the breadcrumbs. Essentially what breadcrumbs are a set of actions that was taken before up to the error and then after the error as well. So this gives us kind of context to in which user flow the error occurred, which could help us solve the error as well. Once we've viewed this information, we can feel confident that we know exactly why the error occurred, and we can go ahead and take it to the next step in the process, which is typically creating a ticket in our favorite project management solution, like Jira, for example. Once we've done that and the issue has been resolved, we can go ahead and actually click Resolve here. And there you have it. Once you've resolved in Sentry, you can go ahead and jump back into PagerDuty to resolve those incidents and effectively close everything out. So from the actual user error to the alert, all the way to resolution, this is how teams can utilize this integration to make their workflows more efficient. And most importantly, we're keeping users happy and free of errors throughout the whole process. We had fun walking you through this demo, and I'll go ahead and pass it back to Schaefer for the Q&A.